So I want to talk to you a little bit about some military technology today, specifically Anduril Industries, because they came out with some technology at the Association of the United States Army event up in Washington, D.C. on October 13th of 2025. Now, the company was founded by a guy by the name of Palmer Luckey, who has been pretty successful with this company since then. This specific piece of tech that they unveiled on the 13th of October, though, is called the EagleEye, which is a modular AI-powered family of warfighter augmented systems designed to integrate mission command, enhanced perception, and survivability directly into the operator's helmet or headwear. Basically, what this thing is going to do is it's going to transform soldiers into, quote, connected nodes on the battlefield by overlaying digital information onto the real world. Like right over your face, like a HUD, like if you're in a video game like Battlefield or Call of Duty or something like that. Now, this thing is going to basically reduce cognitive load on the end user and enable seamless control of unmanned assets through your glasses that you're wearing. It's going to be pretty insane. The system is just going to continue to build upon Anduril's existing Lattice AI platform that's already in production for the U.S. Army for programs like Soldier Borne Mission Command and others. And they have plans to deliver approximately 100 units of these to the Army in 2026. Now let's talk about some of the key features. So the EagleEye emphasizes three core pillars: enhanced perception, heightened survivability, and lethal connectivity. And it's all powered by AI and integrated with Anduril's Lattice ecosystem for real-time data fusion from sensors and assets. It also supports advanced mission planning tools as well. So let's talk about enhanced perception. So enhanced perception, they're going to overlay AI-generated digital insights onto the real world via a heads-up display, a HUD. Like I said, like Halo, like Battlefield, things like that. What this is going to do is it's going to allow warfighters to see before being seen, including having optically transparent daytime HUD and digital night vision HUDs. It's going to have Blue Force tracking with 6 degrees of freedom, spatial awareness for precise teammate locations. They're going to be able to show you exactly what floor you're on in a building, not just two-dimensional map dots. It's going to enable threat detection and tracking through terrain or structures using fused sensor data from Lattice. It's also going to provide contextual overlays like live video feeds pinned to terrain for shared operational pictures. Basically, you're going to be able to track things even if they go behind a wall. It's going to be pretty crazy. The next feature is enhanced or heightened survivability. It's going to provide a layered protection and threat awareness in an ultra lightweight design for extended wear. Basically, beyond the full cut ballistic protection and blast wave mitigation, it's going to have rear and flank view sensors, spatial audio alerts, and RF radio frequency signature detection for hidden threats. So for any type of unmanned aerial system that might be in your vicinity, or any other type of electronic warfare system that emits any type of, radio signature. In addition to that, it's also going to have biometric and environmental scanners that enable real-time battlefield alerts, as well as non-emissive lasers to avoid detection. So that way, if you are walking around a tank, you don't accidentally laze the tank and then alert it to your position. Next, you have lethal connectivity. It's going to enable hands-free control of assets while maintaining mobility in denied, degraded, intermittent, or limited environments, meaning that you're going to be able to control unmanned aerial assets with this helmet. You're going to be able to task unmanned aerial vehicles. You're going to be able to call for fire with it. You're going to be able to control robotic teammates like unmanned dogs or ground vehicles via Lattice's mesh networking. It's also going to consolidate soldier networking and command tools into a body-worn systems for resilient C2 command and control capabilities. So all with this head-borne system, you're going to be able to control drones, and you're going to be able to see the environment with augmented reality. It's going to be pretty insane. And lastly, the big thing this thing is going to be able to do is help you with mission planning, because it's going to have high resolution collaborative 3D sand table stuff for pre-mission rehearsals and real-time coordinations, where you'll be able to lay out like the map that was scanned of a region you're going to be conducting a raid in, for example. It's going to integrate live feeds, coordinate movements, and it's going to create shared operational pictures before and during missions. So basically, this is going to be like something that you would think you would see in Cyberpunk 2077. Pretty insane. Now, a promotional video from Anduril was released on October 13th, demonstrating these things in action during a simulated nighttime operation where soldiers were receiving commands like Bravo, Split, and One Tango West container in the open. And they were showing green-tinted night vision overlays, highlighting some of the threats that they saw through their optics. It was highlighting vehicles. It was also showing them and demonstrating team positions in real time, culminating in engagement orders and the EagleEye logo. Now, the EagleEye is a highly modular device, and it's going to have configurations that are optimized for specific missions through extensible add-on sensors and software plugins. They're going to have a bunch of different variants of this thing based on what your mission set is. So they're going to have helmet integrated systems. So they're going to have full ballistic helmets with embedded compute and sensors. They're going to have a visor with glasses that are going to be pretty light for non-combat or specialized roles. They're also going to have compute armor, which are body-worn elements for additional processing and protection. Now, the design is going to prioritize ergonomics and balancing weight distribution to align with the warfighter's center of gravity. It's going to reduce bulk compared to traditional night vision goggles like the PVS 14s or anything like that. It's not going to be sticking way out because it's going to be flat against your face. It's built with software-first architecture for open application integration, which is going to ensure compatibility with a digital arsenal of effects, sensors, tools, and comms. Now, some of the partners that they worked with to build this thing, you're going to definitely know some of the names of the partners that these people teamed up with to build this thing. Number one, Meta. They partnered with Meta for the augmented reality and mixed reality technology. They partnered with Oakley Standard Issue for rugged eyewear and combat optics. They partnered with Qualcomm Technologies in order to build their small form factor compute and processing capabilities. And then lastly, they partnered with Gentex Corporation to build the ballistic helmets and the environmental sensing. Now, these partners have invested billions of dollars into the relevant tech to enable rapid iteration and continuous upgrades for this thing going into the future. And EagleEye just stems from Anduril's ongoing Army contracts and is just going to continue to represent the CEO's return to AR and VR roots, positioning it as a, quote, teammate rather than just a tool. Now, the CEO of the company, Palmer Luckey, emphasized the human-AI synergy, saying, quote, "We don't want to give service members a new tool, we're giving them a new teammate. The idea of an AI partner embedded in your display has been imagined for decades. EagleEye is the first time it's real," end quote. Now, this launch has generated buzz all over the place. There was articles about it in the Wall Street Journal. There's been tons of videos circulating the internet about this thing. And especially when Anduril announced this thing on X, it garnered quite a bit of attention. And some people have referred to it as like superpowers for superheroes. Now, while specific timelines for the 2026 deliveries have not been detailed just yet, EagleEye is positioned for ongoing evolution within the Lattice ecosystem, focusing on persistent connectivity across battle spaces. And Anduril definitely aims to expand its role in U.S. and allied military capabilities with these modular upgrades to ensure adaptability to emerging threats. So SpaceX is freaking knocking it out of the park as per usual. On October 13th of 2025, they successfully conducted their 11th test flight of its Starship mega rocket, which marked the final mission for the version 2 prototypes before transitioning to the more advanced version 3 design. Now, this suborbital test flight lasted about 1 hour and achieved all of its objectives for the most part, including advanced booster landing experiments, satellite simulator deployment, and a controlled re-entry for the upper stage. Now, this Starship mega rocket launched from Pad A at Starbase in South Texas, and then the mission reused a previously recovered Super Heavy booster from Flight 8 in March 2025, its second and final flight, with 24 of its 33 Raptor engines also on their second use, which is pretty interesting to think that they reused the same engines and they're still working. The upper stage of the rocket was Ship 38, and despite a minor engine anomaly, the flight was hailed as a success, providing critical data for future iterations aimed at orbital flights, NASA's Artemis lunar missions, and eventually Mars exploration. Now, the launch drew global attention, and there are people from all over the place that watched this thing. Joe Rogan even made an appearance there and showed up to watch the launch.
2.
Oh my God. Whoa.
Then everybody was tuning in not just to watch the technical milestones, but also for a spontaneous cameo by SpaceX CEO Elon Musk on the official live stream for the launch, which naturally he injects his high energy, as per usual, just minutes before takeoff. And the flight was focused on refining reusability and re-entry technologies to support SpaceX's goal of rapid high cadence launches, which they're trying to get to up to 10 to 24 per day. Like I said, this is the last test from the current Pad A configuration, which is going to be upgraded for version 3 vehicles capable of handling larger payloads and more frequent operations. Now, some of the objectives of this particular launch were a few different things. They wanted to test the super heavy booster descent again, which they're testing the new 5-engine landing burn down from 13 engines for redundancy against spontaneous shutdowns, followed by a 3-engine full hover over the Gulf of Mexico before splashdown. The outcome of this was they successfully splashed down in the Gulf despite one engine failing to reignite during boost stack burn, and the configuration provided pretty valuable data for the version 3 boosters that are going to be coming down the road. They also wanted to test the Starship upper stage deployment and jettison eight large metal rectangles simulating future version 3 satellite masses, which would be a repeat from Flight 10 in August. All 8 simulators that they deployed successfully 18.5 minutes after liftoff. In addition to that, they wanted to conduct an engine relight, which basically means reigniting one of the sea-level Raptor engines on Starship 40 minutes approximately into flight to simulate deorbit burns for orbital missions. And the result of this was they successfully relit the engine, demonstrating in-space propulsion reliability. And lastly, of course, they wanted to conduct re-entry and landing, as you've seen many times before in the past, surviving peak heating and atmospheric pressure during re-entry. And then they followed it up with a controlled practice landing splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Starship remained mostly intact through re-entry stresses, successfully conducted splashdown, and the heat shield performance data collected is going to be valuable for future improvements to the version 3s as they go forward. Now, the timeline of the launch was 1 hour before launch. The propellant began getting loaded, which was 11 million pounds of cryogenic methane and oxygen. And then T-minus 30 seconds, they got their final clearance for liftoff. And then approximately 7:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, they lifted off from Starbase, Texas, with all 33 Raptor engines igniting for a thunderous, vicious ascent. 2.5 minutes in, they did the hot staging separation where the heavy booster expended most of its fuel. And then about 6 minutes and 40 seconds, the booster boost back burn transitioned to 5-engine descent, then 3 for hover before Gulf splashdown. Then approximately 9 minutes in, Starship's 6 Raptor engines shut down, and then they started their coasting phase. Then at 18.5 minutes, they deployed all of the satellite simulators. Then at 40 minutes in, the Raptors relit for deorbit simulation. And then at around 1 hour, Starship re-entered the atmosphere and during the peak heating and splashes down intact in the Indian Ocean. Now, again, there were no major anomalies that disrupted the flight, though the engine failure during boostback was noted for analysis, and they'll probably continue to do more analysis as they go forward. Now, like I said, about 10 to 15 minutes prior to launch, Elon Musk made an unannounced photobomb on SpaceX's official YouTube and X live stream, catching the hosts off guard completely because they didn't know he was coming. He was dressed in his typical black SpaceX t-shirt, super stoked to be there, high energy, and smiling from ear to ear. Now, this launch closes out Flight 11, which they described as challenging but pretty progressive for 2025 for the Starship version 2, especially after facing federal probes after early explosions. But they made a pretty good rebound with some of the reusable milestones that they've been able to reach. SpaceX is now going to pivot to version 3 at the upgraded Pad Bravo, with orbital tests and deeper space goals ahead. Now, there were a little bit of protests over, the environmental scrutiny, but overall, the flight's success definitely underscores and highlights the success of SpaceX's rapid improvements as they continue to move forward. And eventually, they're going to get to a point where they are able to bring humans to Mars and also bring them back from Mars. It's going to happen eventually, but the only way you can get there is crack a few eggs, So either way, this is probably our best chance of finding a way to get off of planet Earth and colonize other worlds. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Madagascar just overthrew their own government. Now, this overthrow began pretty rapidly in October of 2025 amid some of the escalating protests in the Antananarivo and other cities. Late in September of 2025, 2 opposition politicians were arrested for planning protests, which fueled some outrage in the local area. And then Gen Z Mada led demonstrations joined by unions and civil servants. Late in September, on the 29th specifically, Rajulina sacks the Prime Minister Christian Nitse and the entire cabinet in a bid to calm tensions, but the protesters demanded that he exited himself. Then on October 6th of 2025, he appointed the Army General Rufin Fortunat Zafisambo as the new Prime Minister, which was also rejected by the demonstrators because he was involved in it. Then on October 8th of 2025, Rajulina pledges to resign if power issues aren't fixed within a year, but Gen Z Mada refused to talk to them. Then on October 11th of 2025, which a lot of people have said is pretty much the turning point of this whole thing, the elite CAPSAT military unit, which is basically like their special forces unit in Madagascar, which also backed the Rajulina 2009 coup, defected from their barracks, joined the protesters in Antananarivo's May 13th square, and they vowed no violence against crowds. Then after that, there was some clashes with loyalist gendarmes, and they ended up resulting in the death of one of the CAPSAT soldiers. Then on October 12th of 2005, CAPSAT declared control over all of the armed forces, suspending the constitution and ousting Rajulina in a formal coup announcement. Now, there's been videos circulating around of Rajulina as he fled the capital on a French military aircraft with apparent approval from President Macron to an undisclosed safe space, possibly Dubai, fearing for his life. Now, allies like Nitse and businessman Maminiana Ravatomanga escaped to Mauritius. The Senate president, also a Rajulina ally, was also removed as well. And then by October 13th of 2025, Rajulina addressed the nation via Facebook from hiding, refusing to step down and accusing foreign powers of orchestrating the unrest. Then military reshuffles appointed General Demosthene Pikulas as the army chief and General Nonos Mbina Mamelison as Gendarmerie commander. Thousands protested, and now joined by defected soldiers, gendarmes, and police, and then the military held emergency meetings with opposition and civil society. He ended up pardoning 8 political prisoners, including journalists and opposition figures. And then by October 14th, opposition planned an impeachment vote for, quote, the abandonment of post for Rajulina. Rajulina issued a decree via social media dissolving the National Assembly to, quote, restore order, but it's dismissed as invalid by lawmakers like President Justin Tockley, who wasn't consulted. Soldiers briefly threatened to seize state media to block his address, but General Pikulas intervenes. And then protests continue with a festive mood, including marching bands, as military and police openly back demonstrators. This thing is crazy and obviously very hard to follow because there's just so much going on. Gen Z of Madagascar were the ones that pretty much led the protests and drove the movement. They were driving the bus for this one. And they organized online, focusing on systemic change and refused compromises. The CAPSAT unit defected on October 11th and seized control of the armed forces, joined protests, which is ironic given the fact that they were pretty pivotal in Rajulina's 2009 coup for the government. Anyway, Rajulina, the former leader, fled the country in fear for his life, and then as of October 14th of 2025, he's effectively been overthrown through a military coup backed by mass protests, with CAPSAT and defected forces now holding de facto power. He's still in hiding abroad, and his decrees have been ignored, and the opposition eyes a constitutional transition via the Senate, and protests have persisted with a sense of victory on the horizon, but tensions are still kind of high because the military is still negotiating with Gen Z leaders on demands like anti-corruption and anti-corruption reforms and also elections. Now, a lot of people are concerned about this crisis risking further instability in the region, with international calls for some dialogue because they're trying to avoid a, quote, failed state scenario. But either way, that's another protest that resulted in Gen Z overthrowing the local government and taking control. So there seems to be a lot of that happening recently. All right, that's it for the daily roll-up for today, guys. I appreciate you watching the video all the way up until now. Believe it or not, it does help support the channel when you watch a video all the way through because it causes YouTube to recommend that video to more people. So if you want to find other ways to support the channel, please like this video, leave a comment in the comment sections below, or share this video with your friends. So please let us know what you thought about this video in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.